If you live and breathe football, you know the feeling, right? The passion, the drama. But imagine a change so big it's causing just huge waves. Real controversy. Today, we're doing a deep dive into the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup. Now, this isn't just, a minor tweak. It's going from 7 teams in a knockout format.
Really?
Yes, tiny, to this massive 32-team World Cup-style event. It's set for June 14th to July 13th, 2025 in the U.S., and it's supposed to happen every 4 years. So our mission today is to really unpack the backlash. Because there is backlash from players' unions, managers, even other governing bodies.
And, FIFA, they frame it as this fantastic, lucrative opportunity for clubs all over the world, which, okay, maybe. But a lot of people are asking, what's the real cost here? This goes beyond just football matches. It touches the whole structure, the sustainability of the sport.
Okay, let's get right into it then. The biggest criticism seems to be the strain on the calendar. I mean, it's already packed, right? Players are going almost 10 months straight with club football.
Exactly. And their only real break, typically, is the summer.
Right.
But even that often gets swallowed up by, the Euros, Copa America, things like that.
Yeah, right.
So now you add a month-long tournament right in the middle of that summer. It basically just wipes out that rest window completely.
So you're saying players finish their club season, maybe mid-May, then potentially straight into this tournament until mid-July, and then, almost immediately into preseason training late July.
That's the scenario, yeah. Very little recovery, if any.
That sounds, it sounds dangerous, doesn't it, for the players themselves?
It absolutely does. I mean, the alarms are ringing about player health. You're talking increased injury risks, serious fatigue, maybe even long-term health issues. The core argument is that players are just being pushed too far, beyond their limits, really.
Okay, shifting gears a bit. Let's talk money, because FIFA pitched this as a huge payday, right? Something like up to $50 million per team, which is around $57 million. Sounds incredible.
It does sound incredible, yeah. But when you look at some of the investigative reports coming out, that number seems, let's say, optimistic, especially for the non-European clubs.
Optimistic how?
Well, the projections suggest that European clubs, they might actually take home about 70% of all the tournament revenue.
70%? Wow.
Yeah, leaving the other 22 teams from all the other confederations to split just 30%.
That's a massive gap.
Right.
It sort of undermines that whole idea of it being a big boost for global football, doesn't it?
It certainly raises questions about widening that financial divide, between the absolute elite in Europe and everyone else.
And has the commercial side bought into this huge vision? What's the interest like from broadcasters and sponsors?
Well, that's another interesting point. It seems surprisingly lukewarm, despite FIFA's big ambitions. Like in the U.S., Fox reportedly bid only around $10 million for the broadcast rights.
$10 million for a global tournament like this.
Seems quite low, doesn't it? It's seen as pretty underwhelming, suggesting maybe the market isn't quite as excited as FIFA hoped.
So where did the money come from then? Because they did secure deals, right?
They did, eventually. A global streaming deal with DAZN. But there were reports suggesting that deal was heavily supported, perhaps even propped up, by Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia, who are, of course, expected to host the 2034 World Cup.
Exactly. And while that DAZN deal was publicly talked about as being worth maybe $2 billion, insiders are suggesting the real value might be closer to $1 billion.
So, more questions about the actual financial stability and, frankly, the genuine commercial appeal of this whole thing.
It definitely casts some doubt, yeah.
Now, okay, it's not all negative. There are defenders. Arsene Wenger, who's FIFA's chief of global football development, he's a big supporter. What's his argument for it?
Wenger's point is mainly that, look, it's only every 4 years. So he argues players will still get recovery time in the other 3 years.
Okay.
And he leans heavily on advancements in sports science, recovery techniques, monitoring. He believes those things can manage the increased load.
And he points to specific players, too, doesn't he? Like the really big names.
Yeah, he mentions Messi, Ronaldo. Players who've had incredibly long careers, playing at the top level deep into their 30s. He uses them as examples that, with proper care and modern tech, players can handle demanding schedules.
Right.
Plus, he emphasizes the global aspect again, helping clubs outside Europe get more exposure, compete on a world stage. He sees it as a big development opportunity for them.
But, is it fair to compare Messi and Ronaldo, who have access to absolutely everything in terms of support and conditioning, to the average professional player who'll be in this tournament?
That's a very fair counterargument. The resources available to those absolute superstars are just different. Can the majority of players, without that elite level of personalized care, sustain this kind of schedule year after year, even with a tournament every 4? The data on injury rates linked to fixture congestion suggests maybe not.
So, despite Wenger's points, the pushback is still strong. You mentioned leagues, like the World Leagues Forum, led by the Premier League CEO Richard Masters. They sent a formal letter, right?
They did. A strongly worded letter. Their main issue: lack of consultation. They felt FIFA just kind of pushed this through without properly talking to the domestic leagues whose schedules and competitions are directly impacted.
And what were their specific warnings?
They warned it could damage the domestic leagues, take focus away, potentially alienate fans who are primarily invested in their local clubs and competitions. It felt like a power play by FIFA, encroaching on their territory.
And it's not just the administrators. We've heard managers like Pep Guardiola expressing worries about the physical demands.
Yes, Guardiola's been quite vocal. But perhaps the loudest voices come from the Players' Union, the PFA.
Right, the Professional Footballers Association. What's their take?
Their CEO, Mahida Malongo, has been really blunt. He accused the big organizations, implicitly FIFA, of treating players like commodities, just assets to be used in this endless chase for more money, more games, more influence.
Strong.
Very strong. He warned that just piling on more and more games isn't sustainable. It leads to more injuries, yes, but also huge mental stress. He even suggested it could force players to end their careers earlier than they should.
So what's the PFA actually calling for? What's their proposed solution?
They're essentially calling for a timeout. A proper, open conversation involving everyone: players, clubs, leagues, governing bodies. The goal is to sit down and figure out a calendar that actually works, one that's balanced, considers player health first and foremost, and ensures the long-term, health of the sport itself.
It's about not sacrificing the players for the sake of expansion.
Exactly. Protecting the game's most vital assets, as they put it.
So, wrapping this all up, it's quite a picture, isn't it? We have FIFA's grand vision for this expanded Club World Cup: more global, more money, more prestige. But then we have these really deep concerns. Player welfare taking a massive hit, questions about whether the finances actually stack up, especially for smaller clubs, and this significant organized pushback from leagues, managers, and the players themselves.
It really highlights this fundamental tension, doesn't it, between the drive for commercial growth and the basic well-being of the athletes. Plus, the struggle over how money and influence are shared in the global game. Feels like football's at a real crossroads.
Yeah, it certainly does. And based on this deep dive, it seems pretty clear the debate around this 2025 tournament is nowhere near finished. Its real impact, well, we'll have to wait and see.
And maybe it leaves us, and you listening, with this thought to chew on. In this world of ever bigger global sports, when does the relentless drive for more games, more revenue, more reach actually start to harm the very thing it's trying to grow? At what point does expansion jeopardize the game itself?